No, I understand what you're saying. I understand that perspective totally. I just think it's levels to it, and relinquishing all my finances. If I'm going to work, I have to give it to you because that's a betterment of our family. Is that a situation where I'm required to work to help my husband pay for the bills, and so because he's not paying for it fully, so I have to give him my check so I can match him to help pay the bills, or is it that I want to work because I want to. I don't necessarily have to, and whatever I make just from doing, little hobbies here, or I have a little online business here and there. Every dollar and cent that I get from there needs to go to my husband as well, exclusively because that's the betterment of our family. It's not even about I wouldn't do that. I'm just trying to understand what's the real reason behind it, because I can still.
Matter. Doesn't matter. If we need your check,
I think it does. I think it does matter because what is that rooted in?
What is that rooted in?
You're telling me
okay, the next paycheck, ask him to give his whole paycheck.
No. If we need your check in order to bridge the gap, in order for us to continue to survive right now, what difference do it make? If I need it based off of the fact that I want to
have a shared bank account, it's going in one pot. Let's be realistic here. If for a woman to come to a man and just give her whole paycheck, and you're like, here's little gas money to go to A and B and come right back, that doesn't make sense. A man would want to put his wife in any type of predicament like that, and you know that, Anton.
Exactly.
Come on now.
No, that's not true. It does make sense.
Your wife,
because if you fully
she needs, she don't even need to ask for it. So you're missing out a lot of context when you say that. It's one pot. It's one pot. It's one pot.
No, I'm not. And the thing about it is that it doesn't really matter, because if you're buying into his vision, then you wouldn't question his leadership.
Well, if he was a leader, he would allow her to also see his vision.
No woman can teach a man. No woman can tell a man what leadership is.
I said a man would allow his wife.
Hold on, GP, stand down.
A man would allow his wife to see his vision.
No. A man gives a woman a purpose. Often at times she don't have the foresight to be able to understand what the vision is. I could tell you what we building, but it doesn't really matter if you don't really buy into it. And a lot of times women don't have the foresight to go in. That's why in the very beginning of this show, it was difficult for women to even be able to have a conversation based off of the characteristics of what a man that has, dating long term. Take GP out of the conversation. We're not going to use him as an example. But dating a man based off of where he going, all of the women said, I can't date a man based off of potential. The reason that they said that is because they don't have the foresight and the vision to actually be able to vet effectively of where a man is supposed to be going and who's going to be successful. That's why they want men that's at the end of the finish line, because they don't know. I can tell you what my vision is. It doesn't mean that you believe in it. And often at times you pass up on the man that you want for the man that's currently available to you, because you looking at your current circumstances instead of looking at what it is that we're going into. That's why it doesn't really matter whether or not I tell you this. I could tell you, you wouldn't believe it until you've seen it anyway. And that's why women won't be able to finish.
But we still stand on it, and why we said no. You agree with us now? Why we said
no? Most women, now that they look back at it in hindsight, they know that they passed up on the man that they should have married, and it's not because they knew that he was good when they was with him. It's because now they have hindsight to look back and see what he's become. Women don't have that vision. They don't have that foresight.
What do you have to say to those women who saw the potential? And that man did not live up to his potential. And y'all say don't pick better, choose better, but in the same context say, oh, well, get the guy that's with potential. So, like, you're contradicting yourselves in these talking points.
What I'm telling you is that you don't know what potential. I'm not saying you. Most women don't know what to look for in a potential mate. That's what I'm saying. What most women think is potential is actually bullshit. They're not looking for the right characteristics in men, which is why often at times in hindsight, they look back and say, I should have married that guy, is because they didn't know that the guy, that he was going to become what he was based off of what they thought potential looked like. That's why they don't date based off of potential. They date based off of the circumstances.
Not only should we be women, but we should also be psychic so we could tell the future. Right. So we
that's literally what the Bible ordains.
That's no Raven Powers to just
the Bible ordains you as a helpmeet. The Bible ordained you as a helpmeet. That's literally what you are. You are a help meet. You are not supposed to be a partner. You're not supposed to be leadership. When you see current society today, the reason why it's fucked up, in my personal opinion, is because people are outside of their purpose. And ultimately, even women that ultimately become successful based off of optics are not in their purpose, and they know that they're not happy, and they know they're not living in their purpose. That's why they still seeking something outside of the success, is because they can't live like men. Men can be successful and still not necessarily need companionship, but will accept companionship. Women still need companionship regardless of what it is that they achieve in their life. They still seek it because they don't really understand that they're living outside of their purpose. It's not meant for you to think and operate like a man. It's meant for you to be a helpmeet. That's what he described you as. That's why he said men that find a good wife find a good thing. Most women can't choose for themselves. That's why they need their father. That's why in the marriage ceremony, when the father passes it from cover to cover, from the father to the groom, you still need that covering over you, because in most instances you don't know what's best for yourself.
Can I add to that? Can I add to this topic?
No, stand down.
What?
No, stand down.
I don't know how.
Why do you think that?
I don't know how.
Why do you think that you called a bride?
How we went from
B. Taylor, let me ask you a question.
Man.
Let me ask you a question, B. Taylor.
Like,
Let me ask you a question, B. Taylor. Why do you think that you're called a bride at the altar, and we're called a groom? What do you think that means?
you want me to look up the definition?
No, I'm just saying, in your opinion, because most
grooms you into what you're supposed to be. Am I right?
Sir, Mr. Autumn, stand down for 1 second.
Boy, go to hell. No.
Why do you think that you called a bride and he's called a groom? Y'all are embracing these things about marriage that y'all don't even understand.
No, I just think you kind of have like warped.
No clue.
You have like a warped perspective.
So
Where you're coming from is not rooted in like the betterment of the family, but it's kind of rooted in like egotistical control tactics. Like, what is the real reason why the way that I can show selflessness is to hand over my entire check to you? I don't have no spending money to do nothing else but to go home and go to work. That sounds very controlling. That sounds very crazy. And it has nothing to do with the lack of, I don't want to do the best for my family. I want to keep money for myself and keep it away from my husband. No, that it just doesn't make sense. That doesn't sound like
it shows trust.
Well, here's the key.
It shows trust issues. It shows like you want to.
It
shows trust issues. It just shows like you want to run a dictatorship, and it's something that feeds your ego. It's not for the benefit.
You label
family.
things
It's
like
for the
that
benefit of you.
You label things like that because you don't understand it. And in everything,
no, I understand very clearly.
You don't understand it. But here's
I really do.
Here's the key. I'm not gonna fully explain it, but I'm gonna break it down like this. It all goes back down to the original point, right? And the original point is that how can you guys have a conversation about what it means to be a wife, and you're not actually ready to be a wife based off of what marriage is really supposed to be about? How do y'all know it? The original question that I asked y'all, is what is the characteristics of a wife?
I gave them to you. I gave them to you last time. I gave them to you, right?
You wouldn't accept the very thing that you described.
But I listed quite a few,
and you wouldn't accept it.
I listed quite a few qualities of what I think a good wife entails, and you heard selflessness and went straight to finance.
No, I use that as an example. You was wrong on all of them.
Okay, sure.
You were wrong. No. You were wrong on all of them. None of that stuff exhibited what it means to be.
Can I add something to this?
Okay.
Wait, let me ask you this.
I got something to add to it too. No.
Hold up, GP. I mean, we got Arson Craft in the next 30 minutes. Just wait.
Hold on, bro. I got something to add to it real quick before you go, man.
Hold up. Wait, cause this is why I jump off. This is why I jump off the train with these talking points. Because listen, just hear me out. These men say they wanted traditional women, but traditional women. In a traditional relationship, men handed over their check to the women to make sure. Wait. Now, and you can't debunk this. Traditional relationships, men hand their checks over to the women, told you to take care of everything, right? So now, we got the reverse, but y'all still saying y'all want tradition. You saying, give me your check, right?
And they sending them to work.
It sounds so goofy to me, right? I can't even understand the concept of to communicate with a woman. Like, you got paid? Give me your check.
You got some money?
Let me ask.
I need
No,
that.
no. Let him finish. I want to let him get his. I want to let him get his whole point out. Is that it, Logic? See, what Logic is describing.
Can you just explain to about based on?
I'm about to break it down why you're wrong with that example. What you're describing is what we're describing as traditionalism based off of it being modern today. Those guys are the ones that the reason why feminism rose. Those guys are the ones why women made so much progress within the last 50 to 60 years, because that wasn't that was modern versus what they considered traditionalism. So before that time, before the 50s, before the 60s, before the 70s was when guys were saying happy wife, happy life. Before that, that was not the norm. Guys did not bring home their paycheck and say, you pay all the bills. That is a modern thing that happened in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. That is not a norm. That was not the norm prior to that. So what you're describing is what you consider traditionalism based off of the fact that you were alive today. That is not the original idea of what traditionalism was way back in the day. That's not what it was. They never gave the woman money, and they never said pay all of the bills. That wasn't normal.
Anton, you had a little research. You're absolutely wrong. Traditional relationship was based on the premises that a man would be the breadwinner, and then now the woman took care of these things in the household.
The only time that happened, when that changed, you know when that changed? That changed during World War I and World War II when all of the guys was at war. That happened during a time where all men's paychecks was going over to the woman, and he was focused on war. That did not happen in a traditional household where the man was there.
No, during the war, women started working.
They started working because they needed them in the factories in order to continue making weapons. But the women were still at home, though. The women were still at home, and the men had no reason to handle the money. That's when that started to take place. That's when things started to change, because they needed women to shore up the things that men traditionally did at home. That's when you started to see a transition into feminism. That's when you started to see the roles in households change, because the women were largely the only ones that were there for the children. Prior to that, men did not hand their paychecks over to women. They never did that.
Yes, Anton. Look, they literally did. I'm telling you. And look, and we can research, and it's crazy that, like I said, niggas is so, we got a debate about it, right? But you get goofy niggas in the chat that never read a book
ever.
And I'm telling you, even over, I'm talking about you, talking about the goofiness. It's still, the tradition still stands, even here in Europe.
Bro, let me add my piece to this.
Yeah, they simping over there too.
Ass up, man. Hold up.
They simping over there too.
It ain't simping. They just understand that.
Logic. Let's say hypothetically. You're 100% right. For the sake of conversation, I'll say hypothetically you're 100% right. Here's the problem with your argument. It still doesn't dismiss what it is that I described in the very beginning. And that women, even if you handed them the paycheck to say, take care of all of the bills, they still think that their money is their money and your money is still there in order to be able to pay the bills. They still separate it. Mentally and physically, they still separate it. They say his money is there in order to pay the mortgage and take care of all of the business. My money is here for me to make sure that I'm taken care of, that I can do what I want to do, that I can go out and have fun, that I can have a safety net. The logic still doesn't make sense, even if you hand it over the paycheck, because they don't consider it one pot. Either way is still wrong. The mentality of the woman is still wrong.
So this is the thing that this is. Hold on, baby, because I'm gonna let y'all cook, because I'm gonna go get my cup of coffee. I had to
and
put
GP got to go next.
Right, so yeah, GP, don't say that crazy on my name. But look, just think about this, right? See, people say that this. They say, "Oh, Logic, you're talking about Europe and we in America, right?" Where do you think American culture come from?
Culture evolves.
I'm gonna leave it right now.
All culture is what we accept as normal. That's all culture is. Culture continuously evolves every single year, every single decade. What you think is culture today is what we celebrate the most, which is one of the reasons why I say it's trash. The thing that we used to do, you could say the culture back in the 50s was that people dressed up in order to go to baseball games. They don't do that anymore because the culture dictates you to do something completely different. All culture is what you accept as your norm, is your cultural norm. The culture over in Japan is completely different than the culture over here in the United States of America, which is completely different than what it was 50 to 60 years ago, which is completely different than what it was 100 years ago. Culture is ever evolving, but it can devolve or it can evolve into a good thing or a bad thing. It's never the same 100% of the time.
Okay, we get to GP and then the super chat. Go ahead, GP.
All right, so I think that it should be two things that make a woman wife material. First, appreciation for you going out there busting your ass to take care of her as a man, and respect. And based on what I said earlier to Logic about the body count, he was asking me a stupid question, so I just gave him a stupid answer just to fuck with him. I wasn't being serious about that hundreds thing. And thing is, y'all saying I'm on the spectrum, but thing is, that's not funny because an incident happened where it was like my Adam's apple was crushed because I got hit with a metal pipe in what was my Adam's apple. And by the time my Adam's apple healed, my voice was completely altered by that. My throat was in pain 24/7 for months. That's why my voice doesn't sound quote unquote normal. I got hit in the Adam's apple with a metal pipe, and you can't even see my Adam's apple no more.
Or maybe you never had one and you're a girl.
Nah, man. Chill. Chill, man. Don't fuck with me like that. I was just fucking with y'all about that hundreds thing. Lottie asked me a stupid question, so I just gave him a stupid answer to try to fuck with him.
He said you a girl.
Hell no, I ain't no girl.
Come on, Q, man. Let's roll. Let's move on.